Jason. It's my job to stump. Hey everybody, it's Carrie Hoffmeister with Carrie on Abundant TV, and today I am so excited to have two authors on the show today. I have Jana Jackson and Abby Jartos. Ladies, thanks so much for chatting with me today.
Oh my goodness, it's so fun to be here today.
And just so you know, that was Jana Jackson. That was not Janet Jackson. We have
Yeah, I'm almost famous. That's what I usually say. Missed it by a T. It's Jana.
yeah, if you
Close.
say it fast enough, yeah, people would know.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am so excited to have both of these ladies on today. They both have come together to write a beautiful children's book that I can't wait to talk about. Since I haven't had you on the show before, I like our viewers to kind of get to know you a little bit before we go deep. So I'm just going to have you both kind of share a little bit of your background and how you two met and know each other.
Abby, you start.
Let me start. I was going to say the same thing to you. Okay, background. I am a mom of two, and I have done all manner of creative work kind of all of my life. I'm a creative director and work a lot in production, directing, producing, building sets, props, things like that, and have drawn forever and ever and ever. My mom jokes that my brother and I never could stop drawing all over everything, walls, tables, any piece of paper that was nearby. So it was pretty clear from forever that I would make things for a living. And that's sort of how I sum it up now, because it's a pretty broad range of things that I make. So when people say, what do you do? I just say, I make things. That sort of covers the whole thing. So Jana and I met, 10 years-ish
I
ago.
think about 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there. My house looks out at an elementary school and a middle school, and we were both moms in the pickup line at the elementary school. And now those children are big and have moved on to other things. Yeah,
Yes.
but yeah, and we became friends and ultimately dove into this project together. So that's our history.
That's amazing. Jana?
Yep. All right. I am the mother of four amazing young women. There's a lot of words in our house. Lots of words. I have amazing creative children, and there were shows and stories to be told, and oh, so much fun, so much fun. Um, so four girls, and I currently work at a church. I love it. I work in children's ministry, and I work in a church that is part of a large group of churches. And so I have my boots on the ground at a local campus working in children's ministry. I work in the production part of that. So I get to also build props and set up games and create environments that hopefully make children, ooh and ah, and wonder about big things. And then I also had the opportunity to work at the global level of our churches, the group level, and get to speak into the creative ways that we teach truth and write story and that kind of thing. So it's
That's
a lot of fun.
amazing. I know that you do an amazing job with that just based off of the book that you both worked on together, which is, I feel like I've kept everybody like this book in secret. I don't normally do that. I normally start off with it. But so Jana and Abby wrote Jana wrote the book and Abby illustrated the Good for Nothing Puddle, Finding Hope When You're Stuck in Sadness. It comes out February 11th. Let me tell you. So I got this book and I was telling them before we started recording that I had read it once. I was in the car waiting to pick up my daughter from school and I was like, oh, that is so cute. And then I started kind of preparing for this interview and I read it again really slow. And so it's about this little girl who has this red balloon and it starts off with this little girl loses someone. And I was like, someone? And the balloon is going away. and it says loses someone that she loves very much. And I was like, ooh, there's a story here, because it's a balloon. She says someone. And I'll let you share more about the book, but just what I have to say is after reading this book, it really just like affected me emotionally, the message behind it, but also knowing that there was a story behind this, Jana, that brought you to write this. And it's so beautiful. I cried. I read it to my husband. I have told all my friends about this book. It's so beautifully written. And I'm just excited for you to share your story with what led to you writing this book.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Um, Yeah, this book is pretty special. It means a lot to both of us. So, like you said, I'll just encapsulate the book for a second and then tell you how I got there. But the book it's about a little girl who loses someone she loves, and the someone she loves is represented by a balloon, and she cries so much that it creates a puddle around her, and she feels stuck in this puddle of sadness. And the thing that I think is beautiful, if I can say, about this book is that that is where we all find ourselves at some point. We all find ourselves in a place of disappointment where things didn't go the way we hoped or where the way we planned. Um, there may be great loss for little kids. It could be something that is seemingly as simple as losing your stuffed animal, your favorite stuffed
Mhm.
animal, or your blanket. Seems simple to us, but it's devastating to a child. There's loss in that. There's loss on on a different scale as they get older, maybe not getting the teacher that they hoped that they would get, or not getting on the team that they tried out for, or maybe it's something even bigger and life-changing, like a family moving, or the breakup of a family, or truly the death and loss of someone they love. We all find ourselves somewhere in loss in this life, and it's not easy for adults. It's not easy for kids, and um, and that's where this book hits. And the reason it hits there is because that's what happened in my life. Um, my life was cruising along. I was, let's see, I went to college in Birmingham, Alabama. I went to Samford University, met the love of my life, Kevin Jackson, and we dated all 4 years of college and got married on campus. It was that little
Oh,
fairy tale little world. We had four daughters. Um, and we had just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. So fast forward all that time, 20th wedding anniversary. And out of the blue, with no warning, my husband Kevin had a massive brain aneurysm. And he went straight into a coma and was in the hospital for 15 days. And then God took him home. Um, so, um, obviously, we were devastated. I mean, we were, yeah, devastated for quite some time. And so here I was with four daughters from 15, 13, 10, and 7 years old, trying to figure out how to keep life moving. Um, and it was really, really, really difficult. I chose to avail myself of some therapy. So I had a therapist who would help me through things, and we would talk and talk about all the things. And one day she just asked me. She said, Jana, do you think you're mad at God?" And I thought that that was a reasonable question. Um, and I thought about it and I said, I don't think I'm mad at God. I'm devastated. I absolutely hate my circumstances. Um, I'm destroyed. I'm shredded. I'm all those things, but I don't think I'm mad at God. She said, okay. And then next session, we're talking. And she said, Jana, do you think you're mad at God? I was like, mad at God? I thought I answered this pretty clearly last time. I don't think I'm mad at God. I see all the things that God is doing in our lives. I feel loved by Him. I feel protected by Him. I feel seen by Him. Again, hate my circumstances, but I feel really loved by God. I don't think I'm mad at God. Next session, Jana, you think you're mad at God? And I'm like, I may not be mad at God, but I'm pretty irritated about the situation right here. Um,
Getting testy.
yeah, but I was like, I don't know how to explain it to you any differently. I don't think I'm mad at God. I can see why you would think I would be. Don't think I am. So after that, that week, I'm not sure exactly what day it fell, but it was after that session, a few days later, I woke up at 3 in the morning. Not uncommon. Didn't sleep through the night great during that season. But I woke up at 3 in the morning, and as I was just sitting there, thinking thoughts, all of a sudden I had the story. This is difficult to explain, but I knew the story from top to bottom in my head. I mean, I was laying there and the words just started coming. Once there was a girl who lost someone she loved very much. And I'm like, huh. And I grabbed my phone and I just started typed the whole thing out. And it wasn't something like, maybe there could be a girl and then maybe she could do this and that. It wasn't that thing at all. I just typed and it just came out. And when I was done, I looked at it and I read it. And I remember sitting there just thinking, this is something special. And this is beautiful. And interestingly enough, I did not see myself in it. But I thought that maybe this could be something beautiful for my girls. Maybe this could be something that I could use to help talk through things with my girls. And so, of course, I brought it back to my therapist, and and I showed it to her, and she read it. And she was like, "Oh, Jana, this is a beautiful story." And as she read through it, she was like, "Oh, but you know what? This little girl in this story, she is mad at God." And it was at that moment, I kid you not, it was that moment where I was like, I think the little girl is me, and I think I'm mad at God. I mean, it really happened like that. And so, and she, my therapist, I mean, I think she literally leaned back in her chair and was like, "Thank you. Okay, now we can start. Now we can deal with the real
Like, I've
emotions."
been working at chopping this tree down for like 3 months.
I'm stubborn, right? It takes me a minute sometimes. But all that to say is that I truly, truly believe that God gave me this story as a gift to me to help me understand that number one, I was mad at him and I wasn't dealing with that fact. And as I processed through this, what I think happened was, I was thrown into trying to care for four little girls and to get them through life, to get myself through grief and get through life. And I think because I had a deep relationship with God, I skipped over the anger step in grief. And I attempted to skip over. And tried to go straight to accepting. Okay, I see what you're doing, God. I know you love me. I trust you. I trust you. I trust you. And I think God kind of grabbed me by the nape of the neck and pulled me back and said, hey, you're mad. You're mad at me. I know it. You need to know it. And I need you to bring it to me. And so we can address it, we can wrestle through it, and we can keep moving forward. And so for the longest time, that was about a year after losing Kevin. And nothing, that was in 2013. So here we are, almost 2025, and this book is just coming to light. So for the first several years, this was a story that I held close to my heart and with my daughters, and that I feel like God used for me and for my kids to teach me a whole lot about grief. And at some point, maybe we'll talk about how this story came to light, and is to get us to where we are now. But that is how the story was born, and it was a gift. It was a gift to me. So
That is so beautiful. And I absolutely love, and I definitely recommend for any parents, grandparents that are watching that buy the book for their children, grandchildren to read the back that Jana writes, the very last page, something great from nothing good. I love how you call yourself a puddle girl. But also, what I really loved is how you talk about how parents just want to fix their children's problems and how a lot of times we end up getting in the way of them just running to their savior. And I just thought that that was so beautiful. What it's like you wrote a book for children, but then you kind of wrote something in the back for parents. And it was just so beautifully written. I hope that you write other things because you're a beautiful writer. And I kid you not, I made my husband sit there and I read the whole book to him. Like we have a 15-year-old, we don't have like little kids, and I was like, I'm reading you this book. And he's like, okay. So we read this book to him. It's so beautiful. But Abby, I do want to talk to you. So how did you guys then, because it sounds like this book has been in the making for a really long time.
Yes.
Did you go to Abby and say, hey, will you write illustrations for this? I have so many questions, by the way. I'm trying to like put everything together in my mind because all these questions of who thought of the idea of the girl with the balloon, all these things.
Well,
Do you want to start how you came to me, and then I'll go from there?
I didn't hear what you just said. Say, I was speaking
You
over
want
you.
to start how you came to me, and then I'll go
Yes,
from there. Cool.
yes. Okay. So we had we had a mutual friend, have a mutual friend, and her name's Corey. And she kept saying to me, I mean, I had seen Abby in the school. I mean, you just see the parents and
Knew
all of that.
of each other. Yeah.
Yes. And she kept saying, oh my goodness, you've got to meet Abby. She's so delightful. She's so creative. She is amazing. You guys would hit it off. I just know it. You've got to meet her. And so finally, I don't remember, maybe you do, Abby, but I don't remember. I feel like there was some kind of gathering or something where
We
she
went
and
to Panera.
well, we did, yes. And we
Yeah.
decided to go to Panera. Once we met, we were like, oh my gosh, we've got to sit and I just need to talk to you. You're just that kind of person. And so we went to Panera and we learned really quickly that we both this was about a year or so um, after I lost Kevin, and just shortly, Abby had just lost someone who was very dear to her. And so we connected. The connecting point was our grief and our pain. And we sat there, I mean, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. We sat
Hours. Yeah.
there for a long time.
Like
But go
from
ahead.
one meal into the next. Yeah. So, and interestingly, speaking of how we kind of knew of each other, I had first even heard of Jana. One of my closest friends was in the process of dying of pancreatic cancer and lived in the neighborhood where Jana and Kevin lived and where Jana still lives. And she told me about, hey, do you know Jana Jackson? I'm like, I've heard her name. And well, she just lost her husband and this is what happened. And this is, so our stories were kind of already overlapped. And at that point, once I then met Jana, it had come on the heels of about a 2 to 3 year span of walking my friend through that 18-month journey, through hospice, through dying at home, then going through my own divorce. And so just of several years of just kind of hit after hit. And so when Jana was telling me this story and I knew of what she had been going through, and we sat down and she said, this story was given to me. I think two things were really immediately clear to me. Just like she's describing it, if this is fully formed, like as a person who creates things for a living, it's like sometimes you're kind of like piecing them together and bringing them like willfully into existence. And sometimes there's an idea that's like, that is already a thing. It is out there and we just have to kind of reveal it. And she said it and I'm like, this thing exists. Like it is out there in the future. We just kind of have to clear the path to where it's available to other people. So in that sense of like, immediately to me, it was very fully formed as well. And immediately to me saying, I can do this and I want to do this because I can do a better job at this. I could have drawn it before, but I wouldn't have drawn her right. Because even things like, Jana and I got into the details of she's not reaching after the balloon when it flies away. Like her hands are down. You lose something and there's nothing to reach after, it's gone. So those kind of things that seem like the way something should be, until you've been in that are like, this is how your body does in this moment. Like I knew that then in a way that I wouldn't have known it 5 years before that. And a sense of going, much like you reading it to your 15-year-old, it's like, cool, sure, put it on Amazon. This book is for 4 to 8 years old. This book is for everybody because we have all been there. And to Jana's point of from losing a stuffed animal to losing a puppy to moving away to losing a parent to losing a spouse to any of these things, every single one of us finds ourselves in many, many, many moments that feel like this thing that I didn't see having to give up now feels like this will define my life from here on out. And what I really immediately love is a core to my faith is not only is nothing wasted in the story of faith and the story of God, but it's nothing wasted, not in the sense that it's like, cool, I'm going to wipe away everything that was awful and it's going to be great. It's like we have a savior that intentionally shows back up resurrected with scars. And over and over and over in scripture, it is like you build the city from broken pieces. You always rebuild from the broken that's there. And that's the gift is not I take away that pain. The gift is I make something else out of it. And I'm always remaking and always remaking. And that's to me the beauty of this story is, and that's why we were real careful with the language around even how it's promoted of like, she doesn't overcome this. She doesn't overcome this. You always have this. You always have this with you. You always have that loss with you. But it becomes something else and it becomes something beautiful and it becomes a ground that grows something. And those are both true and those are both always true. And those are true when you're 4 and they're true when you're 94 and they're true forever. And I think they're true in an eternal sense of like, that is the God that we love and know. And that's the story he tells us like, no, what's even better is I don't have to start it over. I can make things out of things that seemed completely lost at any juncture. I can make something else. And the, to your story with therapy, which I did a very similar thing with my therapist too. I was like, cool, no, I'm not angry. And she's like, go home and write about that. But that thought of going to give children and truly as well, specifically women, I think, permission to be angry and permission to say it. I think there's a thing that we have sort of now sometimes in a church culture of like, we move immediately to but God is good and he's showing up. And it's like, but if we're going to look at David, there's a real strong legacy of you want us to beat on your chest and go, I hate every bit of this. And I'm still here. And I'm right here. And nothing brings me closer right here than I am going to work this out like this. And to skip that is to miss that intimacy and to develop a false relationship. And so I think to come to kids at such a young age and go, that's part of faith. That's not counter to faith. That's not departing faith. It is central to faith. I mean, it's why David is such a train wreck, but he's a man after God, So it is all of those things in this story. And yeah, it felt like something that's living and breathing on its own. And we just kind of needed to put its bones around it. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. I mean, often times I think we're also taught to in church to skip over and be like, but he's good. And I love how you said, Jana, too, when you said that God knows we're mad and he just wants us to bring it to him and that it's okay to be mad. And I think that's another thing I love about the book is that you're teaching children, too, that it's okay for you to feel that and it's okay for you to be mad. Just bring it to God, bring your anger to God.
There's so many things in it. The more I look at it and the more Abby and I sat with it and we just saw how rich and deep it is. And if there are so many things that Abby just put on the page in the most beautiful way, she would show me drawings and I'd be like, it would just make me cry. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel that drawing. I feel what you did there. And to watch Abby work was amazing because she would sit and she was like, she would become the illustration. I can't like if she was
Yeah.
like,
I can't draw like working at Starbucks anymore because people think it's cute.
yeah, she's like punched over,
Like,
like, what is
sorry,
that
not
look like?
angry at
What does
you,
that
just
feel like?
making faces.
And then when you look at those illustrations, I mean, there is the detail in them, the
Mhm.
emotion that you feel with them. And I love it's so important to me that people, and I love that you saw this, that people begin to read and understand that it's maybe in a children's format, but the topic and the depth of what is in there
Mhm.
is for us
I
all.
love that. And Abby, you absolutely do a beautiful job with these illustrations.
It was such a uh, really wonderful experience working with Zonder kids on this because, both of us being kind of first time to this process, we don't know how this goes. And so I said, you want me to do sort of character studies and we can send you what we had done. And they saw that. They saw kind of the sketches that existed of her, the drawings, and some of them were more finished. Do you want me to kind of do character studies? And they were like, no, we feel like you guys know who she is. Go ahead with who she is, which was
Mm.
really a really wonderful level of trust because I felt like I had told Jana initially, like I drew her with her hair down, I drew her with her hair up, and I'm like, mm-mm. Girlfriend has a braid that's coming apart because she's like, I have got this together, and it's still like,
Yeah.
everything is coming, but every little piece of her um, is a very significant piece of how she's carrying this, and they were incredibly trusting of that, and um, kind of let us run with it and kick drawings around and things like we feel like she should be reaching after the balloon, wouldn't you? And both of us went, no, you wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. Promise.
Oh,
And they were like,
wow.
okay, all right, absolutely. So I think it was really initially and then over years where we kind of worked on her, put her aside, worked on her, put her aside. And then, when Jana had this incredible experience that opened up the door to getting it to an agent, to getting it to a publisher, I get a text sort of like from New York City that was like, do you have the drawings? Can you send them to me now? And I was like, what is unfolding right now? So I sent all of the things that existed and I was like, tell me what's going on when you have a minute. And that just sort of led to the journey of it getting in front of an agent, getting in front of a publisher, getting in front of several publishers. Um, and I think the agent said, Jana, this is not how this works. You don't come in with an illustrator, they assign you one. And God bless you,
Oh.
Jana said, hey, I'm going off script, and said, this is how we do this. This is how I think this should be done. And at least talk to her. And so I went in like, hey, I'll talk to you, but like I told Jana, if this girl gets into the world without me and doesn't with me, you drop me at the curb. You take her to the world. But I would really love to draw her. So I'm
Oh.
glad that it turned out because I feel like she is Jana and she is me, and we both
Mhm.
know her really, really, really well. And it was like, this is a real privilege to see her through to completion and put her out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How beautiful that God just wove your two stories together to create such a beautiful thing. Um, I could see this turning into a series or something, just saying. So,
We'd
just
love it.
throwing it out there. You guys work very well together. Such a good book. I know that you had mentioned before we hopped on that you are doing pre-orders right now with it and you have some specials going out. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Abby, why
Yeah.
don't you take
Okay, cool. We are about to make live art landing page where if you pre-order one, you can get an art print, which is actually the same art that's on the very back of the book, which is one of our favorite pictures from the book. If you can pick one of the favorite pictures from the book. Yes, so this lovely one,
That's so
you can have
beautiful.
a downloadable print that goes in 8x10. You can frame it and put it on the wall. And then if you pre-order two or more, there are lunch notes. So there's 16 of them. 8 of them already have little sayings in them, including one that's like happy birthday, because in the back you see a picture of them celebrating a birthday together. And then 8 that are blank that you can fill in whatever note. If your child has a big test that day or they're nervous about something, they're sad about anything, then you can have these to slip in their note, their lunch and encourage them. And so those will be downloads if you pre-order and upload your receipt, and up till February 10th, the day before it is released.
And where is the site to go to do that?
It's abbyjartos.com, and we'll go on and post it on, it's a slash pre-order bonuses.
Okay.
Yes.
And is
Yes.
it just through that site to pre-order
Yeah,
it
it
that you
goes
get
there
that?
because they're hosted on my site.
Okay.
Once we're releasing all of this out into the world through Zonder Kids and through our own Instagrams and stuff, we'll keep linking to that. So it'll be
Okay.
out there. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies. You both are just so wonderful. I'm sitting here and I'm like, I just want to be their friend. Like you
Oh,
both are just so sweet. And thank you so much for being on today and sharing your story. I've truly been blessed.
thank you.
Like,
Thank you for
thank
the
you so much.
opportunity. Yep.
Yes. And make sure all of you go and pre-order now the Good for Nothing Puddle, which is out February 11th. And thank you all so much for watching Carry On Abundant TV. And just remember, until next time, to carry on.